Good afternoon, how's it going? I'm here to talk about something of a rather dire topic, but nevertheless exciting, isn't it? The Tibetan Book of the Dead. Wow, I hope the title got you as much as it did for the previous talks I talked about the prayer flags. So this could be thought of as a continuation of the previous talks of the prayer flags. I'll quickly recapitulate just for the sake of continuity. Prayer flags are basically representative of the cardinal points of the map. Not only that, if you have a prayer flag you can look at, you can see how there are symbols. Those symbols recognize the elements, the elemental guardians of those particular points of reference of the map. That's just a quick overcap. What really fascinates me about the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and if you've seen like Into the Void, or if you've read the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, all of which are very intriguing for me personally, in the sense that the void, if you've ever come out of a psychedelic experience or something like that, the void of this spinning, buzzing, burning confusion can actually be understood or charted with the points of the map as reference. This is a very heavy book. It's a very weighty subject. We're talking about really essentially encompassing dharmadatu as the all-expansive reality. And it's really, for me, a point where the mind just gives up. So we can do a little meditation as to how to hope for, and beyond hope, how to instill an auspicious rebirth. The bodhisattvas, what is an auspicious rebirth? Well, the bodhisattvas up in the mountains of Tibet have referenced the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying prior to the moment of death, because by then it's too late, as well as being a good human being. We have to generate bodhicitta. Bodhicitta can't go no further than the aspiration for the dedication of one's life into the benefiting of all beings. And the good way to do that is by recognizing suffering. If you can't recognize suffering within your own life, you might have it pretty good, or you might want to turn to pain in the body, other people's pain, the preciousness of the human rebirth, and the recognition that it is all impermanent. So the Buddha taught us that. So when we make such a dedication, we're able to go forward in life. It's good to do this dedication in the morning, bright and early. And recognition of the presence of impermanence can be maintained with recognition of the breath, awareness of the breath. So that's how it's done in the mornings, in life, in the present moment. The Tibetan Book of the Dead, a reference, a culture that was able to base itself much akin to what the Egyptians had, yet not completely clad in this mystery. A culture had the opportunity to dedicate its time, its thinking, its values upon the afterlife, but not in such a way that the end justifies the means. That death being recognized in every single moment is a way to recognize life in every single moment, instead of waiting for simply the purpose to come from the moment of dissolution. And in this charting, as it were, the charting of the void is a very funny space to be in, and of course one of which there is not much time, because there are pressing concerns on either side of the battlefield, Kuru Krishna, as it were, the whole of opposites. The bodhisattvas recognize those dualities, the aforementioned, in the peaceful and wrathful manifestations and visualized. The visualization is a meditation of copulating Buddhas. So basically, when you walk into somewhere that you shouldn't be, and that's pretty much what the scale looks like. It's as though where one has a biased tendency towards being either positive or negative, peaceful, or overly wrathful. Thereby there is that shaking of the scale, as it were. What the Egyptians used to put a feather, and if the consciousness is heavier than a feather, you get kicked back. And the Bodhisattva meditates on these points as a reference, as a sort of manual to find where it is that one's lacking qualities, where it is that one is excelling in qualities, centered around elemental constituency. And the rebirth will take place there. The rebirth takes place as a co-created opportunity. So the idea, really, after the generation of bodhicitta, I'm not here to talk you through the moment of death. That is a very tricky point to make. It's basically, if you want to go back and check out the videos of the prayer flags I've made, you can have that good references to what the cardinal points mean. It's a very interesting point to note that the West actually is located at the top of the orientation of the compass rather than north, for whatever means. And that is a representative of fire. Fire, opposite fire be water in the east. And a lot of water is being passed through here, so these are just concepts, they're just concepts, they're not actually, I'm just speaking a lot, and there's an opportunity to understand the potential of what these cycles are manifesting. Charting the void, as it were. In the south is the earth, and in the north is the wind. And the body, as the moment of final dissolution, returns to all these elements respectively. So Avalokiteshvara, have a look at this. The all-eternal seeing eye, which is the central Buddha, the all-encompassing space, actually directs efforts so that nothing has ever not been recognized and fruitful. So I'm not saying you to place all your faith in Avalokiteshvara. It's a matter of really recognizing the essential nature of one's own being as that all-encompassing space, maintaining that the mind could be very much powerful and strong. And the Chinese, for this reason of cultural appropriation, have taken back resting in the void state too long. There is still that book, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's not mankind's last hope. The Egyptians also have that. So it's a good point to make. It's a good book to read. It's something worth reviewing. The all-encompassing space of the dharmadatu. Seeing that all phenomenon is mind. The arising and falling cessation of the breath. Recognition of the void state is a sort of grasping of the mind's last sort of recognition of one's own internal, pure non-self. That is really the wisdom that is meant to be formed. And it's the heart. It comes from the heart. It's the only reality. Okay? Namaste.